Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here. Thanks for checking us out. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram because we're happening there as well. And one of the things that we've talked about a little bit, but not totally specifically, we've talked a lot about converging technologies working together to change the world, but another aspect of this is going to be groups of organizations coming together to work together to push technological boundaries. So today we have a good example of that. This Tuesday, so this past week, Ford Motor announced the completion of a $75 million building that was built on the University of Michigan campus, and Ford is headquartered in Dearborn, not so far from the University of Michigan, and they have partnered up in a big way. And the purpose of this building is to drive forward robotics, and those robots are driven by AI. So AI, once again, is the enabling technology for what Ford and the University of Michigan are working to do. So what they did in this building, when they built it and just completed it, they not only have put in labs where technologies are developed, but they put in actual spaces where these technologies can be tested. So for example, part of the building has a 3-story high drone testing center, and I've said this before, but drones have already been licensed by the FAA to start flying. So you are going to see drones everywhere very, very, very soon. But what they're doing with this research is developing drones for specific applications and pushing the boundaries of those drones so that they fly farther, faster, and cheaper, which is how tech works. You invent it the first time, and then people iterate it to make it better, faster, cheaper, and that's exactly what they're doing on the drone side. And we've talked about how the Chinese are the global leaders in drones and make most of the drones. And so you can bet that they're putting a lot of effort into this too. But it's not just drones, it's all kinds of robotics. It's robots that will be for first responders. We recently talked about that, about the power of robots to take over super dangerous jobs for humans, like going into burning buildings or going into a building that is falling apart, and but they need to make sure that no one's in there before they blow it up or tear it down, or that's another example. But there's a lot of examples where robots make sense, where it's dangerous for humans. This is very, very common in manufacturing and industrial settings. There's all kinds of processes that have pieces of equipment that must be inspected and cleaned, but doing so requires serious hazmat gear for people to do it, and why not have a robot do it and do it better and faster and cheaper? So this is what's happening with robotics, but we're going to see a lot more of these kind of collaborations because technology, we can all appreciate at this point, is becoming more and more and more complicated and sophisticated. So bringing multiple groups together to solve specific problems is a great answer. And in this case, academic researchers are being brought together with Ford's engineers to develop real-world applications. So one of the things Ford is working on is they've committed now $7 billion to develop autonomous vehicles, which they're well in progress on. So we've talked about it. It's been a little slow in coming, but full self-driving will be here very soon, and it will completely disrupt the automobile market over the 10 years after that. Ford is working on both self-driving cars and robotics, and the idea is, we've talked about this also, last mile package delivery. So Ford's autonomous car drives around with a robot in it delivering packages, and the robot takes it from the car up the steps and leaves it on your front porch. Coming very soon. We've talked recently about how rapidly robotics is advancing. And we can tell from this basically collaboration joint venture between Michigan and Ford that all kinds of people are jumping in it, not just the major players that we've seen before and talked about before, like Boston Dynamics. Sorry, General Dynamics is a different company. But there's going to be a lot of players, big companies in this market. So one of the other things that they're doing out of this center is helping disadvantaged students take robotics courses for stuff that's happening in real time in this tech development center that Ford and Michigan have put together. So this is going to help broaden and include a bigger group in the future. And the future is going to be radically different. I tried to refine something that I saw 2 days ago, but it disappeared from my feed. I've got to find it again. But when I do, I'm going to read you something that's going to blow your mind, because it's a guy who says exactly what I've been saying in a totally different context. But we'll get there. But in the meantime, we're going to see many more of these collaborations between two companies working together, or between an academic campus and a company working together, or government and academia works together all the time, but government and a corporation works together often in certain circumstances. NASA is a great example of that. NASA is driving space innovation through buying services from private companies. Most recently, a private lunar lander is now in development from 3 different companies to land astronauts on the moon. And of course, NASA bought private space transportation to and from the International Space Station. Every single thing I just talked about uses and runs on AI. AI is the hub, and AI drives robotics, and AI drives space, and AI drives anything that we have talked about and will talk about going forward. It is going to be so much more pervasive in our lives than it is right now, and soon. Oh, by the way, we've talked about how some of these robots being developed, and they talk about it in this article, and I'll give you the link. Some of these robots are going to help you around the home. They were talking about that, vacuuming, washing dishes, loading the dishwasher, unloading the dishwasher, and all that. So, a robot at first is going to be really expensive, but the more and more people buy them, the cheaper they'll get. And one day it'll be like the TV, everybody will have one. So when the TV was first invented, very few people could afford it. Now, most people, most families, at least here in the US, have 2, 3, 4 of them. So everything gets cheaper, and that's how technology works. So thanks a lot for career advice. If you're handy with your hands, they're going to need people to help build these robots that are being developed, right? What a great job. I mean, talk about a cool factory job to tell your friends. What do you do? Oh, I build robots for Ford Motor Company. Very cool stuff. So something to think about, and we'll talk to you next time. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.